to be more intimate with you, Lord. Turning away from all the darkness, following you to where the light is. Guide the steps I'm taking, guard my heart's desires, till I'm living for you, a disciple of truth, full of holy fire that burns with pure passion. Renew a right spirit deep in me. Set me free, free to live with pure passion. Living for your will and nothing more. With passion for you, Lord.
Welcome to Pure Passion. My name is Jonathan Daugherty, and I'm your host for today's program. Imagine for a moment being 7 years old again. You're a child living in a village without a care in the world. One day, a woman comes to the village and takes you away to the big city for an adventure. Only it's not an adventure that you experience, but unthinkable horror instead. That evening, you are gang raped, and the next morning locked into a room where you will stay for the next 4 years without ever being allowed to leave. And every day of your life, you are raped by anywhere between 10 and 40 men. Eventually, you die from AIDS or drug overdose, or become too diseased or old to provide much income for your captors, and you're tossed out on the streets with no money and no hope. This scenario is not unusual for probably over 1 million girls and boys every year. Today's guest decided to do something about it. After attending a training school at Youth with a Mission, Shanta Sapkota felt called of God to found a ministry that rescues and rehabilitates such victims of sex slavery. Today, you're going to hear her story.
My brother, my country, we have no property right. We are so poor. Yes, rich is rich everywhere, poor is very poor. And they are so poor and they have no educations. How can they pay? And they have not enough food, no job, no skill. And that way very easily trafficker, they convince our girl. Yes, they are hunger. And people, they came to them and they're sharing, okay, I provided job you. Nice job. And they believe. And they believe and they follow what they say. Because also another things, they're not educated. They don't know where they go. They not read even landmark. And they follow what they say. And they are that way, sometime in false marriage, sometime false document. And they say, can you go with me? And we provided workers and job for workers. Sometimes they say babysitting, like to nanny job. And sometimes many another dream they saw for this girl. And they trust, they are so poor.
As some of the girls who are rescued and are at PRC, when we hear their testimony, they say there's lots of torture and their physical torture.
उनीहरु चुरोटले पोल्ने, टोकिदिने,
burning with cigarettes and biting them.
कतिजना बहिनीहरुको त यो टोकेर उनीहरुले ब्रेस्टको निपुलै पनि थिएन.
And in some cases, like even they bite them so much, like there's like they don't even have nipples, and the customer just bite them so badly.
मेरो बहिनीहरुले दिएको रिपोर्ट अनुसार तिनीहरुलाई त्यो भित्र जिउन भन्दा धेरैचोटी उनीहरुले सुसाइड गर्न कोसिस गरेको रिपोर्टहरु छ हामीसँग.
From their testimony, what we find is that most of them try to commit suicide because they don't want to live that life, that torture in that brothel.
उनीहरु बलियो छन्जेल ग्राहकहरुलाई खुसी पार्नुपर्छ.
When they are strong enough, they have to satisfy all this customer visiting brothel.
अनि जब उनीहरु बिरामी हुन्छन् र उनीहरुलाई सडकमा फालिन्छ रित्तो हात.
But when they are not able to serve their clients, they are thrown out in the streets just to die because they don't want to spend any money for someone who is dying.
अब पहिला नै त्यो ब्रथल्स ओनरले पैसा लिएको हुन्छ अब उनीहरूको रेट कति छ 100 रुपैयाँ 250 500 कति छ अब त्यो एउटा क्लाइन्टको रेट त्यो अनुसार हुन्छ.
So now there's different categories of brothels in India. Like when the girls first comes, like her price is higher because now she would be new to this business, so people are willing to pay more for her, and gradually, like she's resold to different other brothels, which would be less price. So there's a different category of brothels as well. Like so one is the higher level where people are paying more, or whereas one that's lower level, and we're talking about somewhere around 20-30 rupees to have sex. That's about 50 cents, the less price, cheap. Even like once they are out there very sick and cannot serve any clients at the brothels, when they're thrown out in the streets, they're just forced to have sex for free or maybe for a little amount so that they can buy food as well.
मलाई बहिनीहरूले दिएको रिपोर्टमा चाहिँ उनीहरूले कहिलेकाहीँ त दिनमा 15-16 जनासम्म चलाउनु पर्छ मान्छेहरू राख्नु पर्छ.
Some of the girls who have shared their story when they returned to Nepal, and they said they have to serve 15 to 16 clients each day.
त्यो चाहिँ क्रिसमस र इस्टरको टाइममा पर्छ.
Usually like during holiday season, Christmas and around Easter, so that would be during summer.
आत्मिक क्षेत्र त उनीहरूको मरि नै सक्यो किनभने उनीहरूको जीवनमा कुनै आशा छैन.
There's no hope in their life, so the spiritual part is totally dead in their life.
फेरि के छ भने मैले देखेँ ब्रथल्स भित्र हरेक देवताको फोटोहरू त्यहाँ राखिएको छ.
Even inside the brothel, there are so many pictures of these idols which they worship.
And Hindu and the Christians also, Jesus picture is there.
Even there are lots of Hindu gods and goddesses, and even Christ's picture in the brothels.
अनि उनीहरूले चाहिँ त्यसरी पूजा गर्न सिकाउँछ कि आज मलाई धेरै क्लाइन्ट दिनुहोस् भने.
And they would worship all of this picture and say like let us have more clients today in our business.
त्यो देखेपछि म रोएको छु.
And I've cried seeing this scene, Christ right on their wall, and they're worshiping for more customer to visit them.
तर मैले विचार गरेँ मेरो परमेश्वरले त्यहाँबाट हेरिराख्नु भएको छ र एक दिन न्याय गर्नुहुन्छ.
But what I felt was my God is looking at all of these things and he will judge one day.
Your passion beats for Christ alone. Your passion.
क्षमाको घरमा बसेँ क्षमाको घरमा बस्दाखेरि को आयो त माग्ने नौली देख्छ यति लामो कपाल छ नाकमा यत्रो तिल छ कालो मेरो जस्तो फेरि भने नानी मलाई एउटा केटी चाहिएको छ मेरो छामालाई भनेछ चिनेको होला नि नचिनेको त त्यसो थोरै भन्छ नानी मलाई एउटा केटी चाहिएको छ तिम्रो दिदीको भए पनि तिम्रो भए पनि मलाई जसको भए पनि एउटा छोरी देऊ मलाई कामको लागि चाहिएको छ छोरा छोरी घरमा छ म काम गर्न जान्छु मलाई लिएर गए दाउने डाँडामा भात खुवाएको मात्रै याद छ अरू कतै पनि याद छैन एकैचोटि इन्डियामा गएर बल्ल थाहा पाएको कोठामा पैसा लिएपछि मलाई कोठामा बन्द गरेर उनीहरू खुसी खुसी गरेर हिन्दी कुरा त्यति 50,000 50,000 आएछ
अनि कति वर्ष बस्यो
बम्बईमा 3 साल फेरि आएर दुबईमा पैसा त सधैँ पाउँथे सबै लुकाएर राखेको पनि नाङ्गो बनाएर लिने 1000 2000 त्यस्तो दिन्थे खर्चको लागि उनीहरूले दिएर हामीले लुगा लाउन पाउँथेन त उनीहरूले किन्थेन उल्टा केटीहरू किनेर राख्नु बरु हामीलाई लाउन खान पनि एक टाइमको पनि धेरै मुस्किल
दिनमा एक टाइम धन्दा गर्न नसकिने
त्यही आफूले नसा गरे मात्रै लट्ठै नसा भयो मात्रै धन्दा गर्न सक्ने सुर्ती खान्थे त्यही मान्छेहरूसित जानु परेन नि रक्सी नखाइकन जानु सक्थेन त्यसो भएर लट्ठैमा सुइहाल्थे लट्ठी सुइहाल्थे लाटो थुप्रै लाखो छ यहाँ नेपालको त थुप्रै केटी छन् कोठामा म जस्तो कति चेलीबेटी फसिरहेछ कति मरिरहेको छ त्यही परेर कसैले मारेर फालिदिन्छ त्यही सित बस्न सकेन भनेर मारेर गडरमाथि त्यो घर बन्छ त्यहाँ गडर भित्र हुन्छ मलाई न सुत भित्रमा गएर मान्छे राख्दिन मलाई सन्चो छैन भने नि
कति वर्षपछि
15-16 वर्षको
सानो कति वर्षको लान्छ
सानो 12-13 सालको 10 सालको पनि वहीँ पालेर राख्छ कसैले पालेर राख्छ पालेर राखेपछि ठुलो भएपछि आफ्नो उमेर बढिसकेपछि
5 times she also pregnancy is Asa and 5 times they took in they forcing in the abortion and 5 times she also abortion and after कति दिनपछि फेरि धन्दा गर्नु पर्यो
फेरि त्यही अर्को दिनमा एक दिन मात्रै छुट्टी दिन्छ
and this abortion that day she have a rest and next day she start to business also they forcing her.
Who told us we'd be rescued? What has changed and why should we be saved from nightmares? We're asking why this happens to us who have died to live. It's unfair. This is what it means to be held, how it feels when the sacred is torn from life and you survive. This is what it is to be loved and to know that the promise was when everything fell, we'd be held.
We get girls from the hospital as well. We have offices at the border which will receive girls while they're coming back to Nepal from brothels. Then we are part of a bigger network in Nepal which is called National Network Against Girls Trafficking. So with the help of our network and with the help of Indian organizations, we rescue girls in India, and we have various contacts with Indian organizations who rescue girls in the brothels, and they will contact us that we have rescued Nepalese girls, are you willing to take them back? So and beside that, like, you know, if the girls had just returned back to her community with local churches, they say, like, you know, we have a survivor here to have a place. So there are various ways we get our girls in our rehabilitation center.
They came to rehabilitation center. First of all, I sit with them and listen to them. we need to listen, because they just come, they don't trust anybody. Enough for them. Already I tell the God picture is inside the brothels. They don't trust in God. They don't trust any human, because in their own relative also sometimes they're selling. False marriage, husband he sell. Sometimes father, stepmother, relative, who they know village people, and they're selling this girl and they don't trust anybody. First of all, they came to inside our house. We sit and listen to them, making the trust build up. First of all, they need to healing, because they are really sick inside heart. Just somebody said they are coming, and next day, even after 1 week, they start some training. I don't believe like that way, because she really need to rest and healing, because she have not hope in life. How can she go and learning something? She need to first is healing, and hope is life. Then after she learn skill. We have a many skill in many training in our place, and we ask her, we don't force, what you like to learn? You like to learn anything?
We have to show our life as a gospel to them.
And जब हामीले एउटा नयाँ जीवन र नयाँ प्रेम, अनकन्डिसन प्रेम भनेको कस्तो हुन्छ भनेर हामी देखाउन सुरु गर्छौं.
When we show them what is unconditional love that we receive from God is, when we show that in our life to them.
त्यसपछि म चाहिँ क्रिस्चियन हुँ, म चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्टलाई विश्वास गर्ने व्यक्ति हुँ.
And then after I tell them I'm Christian and I worship Christ.
अनि म बहिनीहरुसँगै बस्ने भएको भएर म हरेक दिन बिहान बेलुकी म मेरो व्यक्तिगत समय बिताउँछु परमेश्वरसँग.
And I live 24 hours with them in the same house. So whenever I get chance, I sit there and I spend time with my God, worshiping Him.
अनि उनीहरु भित्र बाहिर गर्दा त्यो देख्छन्.
And they would see me worshiping and doing devotions with other girls.
म त्यो बहिनीहरु एक-एकको नाम लिएर परमेश्वरसँग प्रार्थना गर्छु.
And I pray for them by taking their names, and I just start praying for them.
उनीहरुलाई मैले मेरो अंगालो भित्र राखेको देखेर पनि उनीहरुले मलाई विश्वास गर्न सुरु गर्छ.
Though in Nepal we have this caste system, and I'm from a higher caste Brahmin as a priest, but I have many girls from different tribes, untouchables and all, and seeing that, like accepting everyone and welcoming everyone in the house, this is totally different. It's not what they were used to with the caste system. Like here I am being accepted, and you sharing the same kitchen, having food at the same table.
Every day evening we have a devotion classes, and morning we have a quiet time and prayer time, and every Saturday also we go to church. Rehabilitation center we provided lodging, fooding, and health and hygiene also we provided for them. Also we have many another skill, sewing classes, non-formal educations, and knitting and jewelry making, and beauty parlor course, what they like. And some girls they say I like to go to school, then we sending to school.
So we do have 3 border monitoring stations. 2 is funded by Peace Rehabilitation Center, and 1 by our sister organization Serve Nepal in Nepal, and this is where we find some of our girls. But this is a part of a prevention program, so I would just like to add what Shanta missed on that part. But it's a very important program where we try to prevent girls being sold into India or around the world by stopping them before they cross into India. And our staff basically are stationed at the border, and what they would do is that when they find some girls trying to cross over India, they'll ask this girl with whom they are going, where they are going. Do they know they could be the next victim of sex slavery, and are they aware about their jobs? If someone has offered them a job, do they know, or do they have a legal permit to do that job abroad or not? And do they have a valid visa? Do they have a passport or not? So we just make sure, and we just provide counseling and information to them at the border. And so each year there would be around 2,000 to 3,000 interviews annually, and out of that it's around 100 to 150 girls are rescued, and that's what our data shows from each border monitoring station. if we find someone who are sold by their parents, then there's no way we can send them back into their own community. But what we try to do is try to find some alternate place, where we can send. Maybe after training, we can help her to find jobs, and then she can move on her own. Or marriage is another option. PRC have arranged how many? 21 marriages so far. So there's girls who are married and now are doing amazing ministries. Like some of them are doing women's ministry at the church, and some of them are doing orphanage. So it's just growing. The ministry is just growing. Most of the time, this traffickers will not be prosecuted, but there are some cases where police has cooperated. Though I would say the administration is pretty corrupted and the whole system is very corrupted, but still we are very satisfied to be able to save the girl's life. Though we're not able to get justice for this girl, which we try our best to get, but sometimes you just have to be happy for saving one life. To open one border monitoring stations, it will cost around $25,000 annually. That will have staff, 6 or 7 staff, and then it pays all the rent, administrative cost for that one, and to reunite with their families as well. Because basically what we do at the border is we have to contact their families to find out where they are from, what's their family situation is, and do they want to take them back or not. So there's so many costs around it, calling them, and we have to provide shelter for them for a couple of days until their parents come and receive them. So it costs about $25,000. Whereas to rescue a girl and then to have her in a rehabilitation center for a year, and to provide counseling, to provide the training of her choice, and to reintegrate or rehabilitate her in her community with some kind of seed money to start business for sustainability, that would cost somewhere around $3,000 per girl. A couple of organizations in Nepal are funding some of our income generating programs and border. I would like to mention Free for Life Ministries and their partnership to open this new border monitoring station in western part of Nepal. And so you can just be part of it, or help one girl. And here you have this opportunity to save one girl. And so don't miss this opportunity.
Thank you, Dhanyavad. Thank you so much.
This is the heart of God, to rescue the orphan, the person being abused, and the one tossed onto the heap of broken humanity by a world given over to evil. What we are seeing today is the fruit of the sexual revolution. This is the legacy of Hugh Hefner, Alfred Kinsey, and those like them who defied God's law and decided they knew better. So what do we do with the situation facing us now, when the selling of human beings is bringing in billions of dollars every year? God told His fallen people in Jeremiah 30 that even though their wound was incurable, He would restore them to health and heal their wounds. Why? Because, He said, they are called an outcast, a people for whom no one cares. God is looking for someone who's willing to stand in the gap for the voiceless and the powerless, those for whom no one seems to care. He's looking for those who will stop for the broken person who's fallen along the roadside. Is that you? Many in the church have for too long gathered into holier-than-thou huddles, passing judgment on people in the sex industry, when God longs to run out and gather them into His arms and love them back to health. And until next week, I'm Jonathan Daugherty for Pure Passion.